like to party every day of every year. Since I was 15, and still well behind the years.
Introdine.
Cause ever since then I've been hooked on the taste of beer. Think we're really cool. Cause we're sitting by the pool.
Sitting by the pool.
Girls all around. Whoa, look what we just found. It's really, really cold this last feeling taste, but we got beer.
Got beer.
Was a girl from Spain, and Lolita was her name.
Rita.
Said we got stuck. Whoa, boys, we're in luck. Big apple stop, you share with a shot. We got beer.
Got beer.
Glad for beer, I like a lot of beer. From the bottom to the top, I just can't stop with beer.
I love this song, ladies and gentlemen.
We would have never guessed. You got it yet?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, Rolling Rock. Bucket of Rocks.
Rocky Mountain Brew. I like 12 packs and 6 packs of beer. I like 12 packs and 6 packs of beer.
No. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our show tonight. It's Grizzly and
Sportcat
information I have full-size balls.
is in the house.
What in the world? I did not.
No, for your information, I have full-size balls.
I did not see that coming. So I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen. So
Hey,
it has
there's a
been-
reason we got an E for entertainment, by God.
Oh my Lord! Let me get out the holy water, ladies and gentlemen. So it has been a heck
Sprinkle
of
that
a
on
week.
me. Your magical fairy may curse me.
I will. I'm going to have a chance to sprinkle some on you while you're asleep. And
It's
I
a week
didn't
after
tell
next.
you, I am going to film it live when I put holy water while you're sleeping on you. See what the hell happens. So,
Well,
and I may lay a crucifix
I'll
on
be
your
like,
forehead.
oh, don't do that. It'll burn right through my skull. I'll be like the witch in, what is that? Crap. Where she clicked her heels. What is that?
The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, I'll be like the
There's
witch.
no-
I'll just like, yeah, do your voice. I know you're going for the button.
There's no place like home.
Oh my God, this has been one hell of a week. See, I was alone for a week and I thought, man, sports, Doritos, underwear, on couch, strippers. That was the whole plan. But no, didn't work out that way.
Wow.
My daughter came down from Tennessee and ended up giving me the bubonic plague. So I did spend it on the couch, but my throat was sore. And then, of course, the yellow snow. We don't have a Yankee dander here in the South. The yellow snow came down and nearly killed me on the second round. So I'm like, the hell with it. I'm just going to watch March Madness. So. And I know you
Well-
don't know nothing about sports, so but that's okay.
No.
That's
Hello,
okay.
Kristen. Hello, Scarborough. Hello.
Yeah, Deacon,
Deacon.
Andy, Scarborough, I don't know.
Jeanette Lucas is out there. Hello,
Oh
Jeanette.
wow, Jeanette is out there. I do got a good fan then. So
Yeah. So, great news. I finally got my move completed. I almost got my studio set up. So, yay. Bad thing is the storms that we had here in northern Kentucky is knocked out my power for like a few days. So, thank goodness I had a generator. My parents were happy too. I had to go over there and set that up. And I was like, you know what? I was broadcasting live shows in the dark, ladies and gentlemen, with no power. And
I
they
saw
didn't
that.
believe me. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. I popped in for a little bit of it, and then I popped out because you were boring me. So
Oh, great.
Yeah.
But
I was like,
to-
here my producer's doing all these shows, and I can't get him to read my email. But go ahead, I'm still listening.
So we also had to do yard cleanup, which was hard for me in my condition, right? Don't say nothing. I don't want any smart remarks or gap. but sections of his privacy fence
Sorry,
around his
Andy.
pool. There goes our counter, Andy. It's already starting.
I did
So-
not cuss.
No, you didn't. But we had to go around his pool and rehang privacy fence up because that's how strong the wind was. It was like 60 to 70 something miles an hour wind. So yeah, Wandering
is
Star
crazy.
Astrology. Hello there. Sorry you couldn't make it on the show, but hey, you're watching. That's the main thing, right?
That's
you
right.
You can still always chime in. I mean, we can still send you a link. You can still chat. And Annie says it's all good. So what else is going on with you?
Well, that's been about it, really. I haven't done much this week but watch TV and lay around and veg. So I know what's new, but
Well, I'll tell you what's shaking and baking. Sportcat, if y'all don't know, really went out and I think hit a home run. We are trying something new, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. So
herding cats.
it is very interesting where we're going tonight. We already have people backstage ready to come on.
Yeah, we're hopping tonight.
Sportcat, what did you do? Tell them what. Are
Well,
we
first
doing?
off, I want to start this as this is a personal one for me because, as some of you may know, some of you may not know, my first job in public safety was actually with the Fairfax County Fire and Rescue Department. I was a photo unit. In 2019,
He could not be a police officer, ladies and gentlemen. That's why he went to firefighting.
Damn, Skippy, I'd shoot somebody.
So actually, if you're going to say that, let me read what you wrote.
About
How's
what?
that?
Well, no,
the
let
intro.
me give me just a minute here because this
Okay.
is, like I said, it's kind of personal.
Right.
So this was I don't directly know them, but I know people that know them, and I know people that know the family. So in 2019, two firefighters, one from Jacksonville Fire Rescue and one from Fairfax County Fire Rescue, who've been friends for years, went fishing. They did this regularly. It's a long backstory that I'm not going to go into, but they were friends. They had been friends forever. They disappeared. I have not advised any family members, and I know some family members might be watching tonight. I know some friends of the family are definitely watching tonight, so I know that this will get back to them. First and foremost, whatever transpires, I don't know what's going to happen. I grieve like you do for the loss of a brother.
Yes, our condolences do go out to the family members.
We
okay?
want to make sure that the family does know that it's not. We're not. I'm not trying to do this to be malicious. I reached out for a purpose, and so I want to make sure that they know from my heart that whatever we find out, I really don't know what we're going to find out. So we'll go from there. But
okay, well,
that's it. So go ahead and start with it.
Let me read what he wrote. So this is an actual true story, ladies and gentlemen. On Friday, August 16th, 2019, two men headed out to sea to share a day of fishing from the dock at Port Canaveral, Florida. Those two men had known each other for years and both were firefighters. They were to head about 30 miles out to a reef, which was called 8-A off the coast of Brevard, Florida. That night, the two families had planned to have a cookout together. Neither of them returned back home. The only trace of them to this day has been a tackle bag that one of the spouse claims was packed so that people would know they were still out there. Now, what transpired over the next 10 days was a 150,000 square mile search, roughly the size of Montana, that was coordinated by the U.S. Coast Guard with the assistance of 5 branches of the U.S. military and federal agencies. Not only with additional resources with each coast state along the way to the tip of Canada, which also include fire departments, search and rescue teams, and all across the country joined private sectors, including fishermen, commercial vessels, and ordinary citizens, private aircraft, the U.S. Coast Guard, and volunteer pilots joined in as well. This 10-day search for a 24-foot fishing boat was unprecedented. How do you say that?
Precedent.
Thank you. I haven't got my new glasses yet.
Ain't happened
And
before.
it was in a very large magnitude. And when they finally concluded the search, they were left with more questions than answers. Since that time, no one has found them, the remains, nor the boat, or any article from their voyage. Somebody has asked researchers in the paranormal world, that means Sportcat, to see if they can find remote viewers, and they were giving certain numbers, 1646-7127, to search the case, and psychics were giving names and dates and a photograph from the web of the two men. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we find out what all researchers found together. We will have some answers. Will they agree? We do not know. Will we be able to give families any information? We have no knowledge. Only one person knows. We were kept out of the dark on this. We have a paranormal psychologist, Mr. Trey Hudson, will be with us tonight to discuss the results and how we got to this point. And also in guiding any information for the participants, we really hope you enjoy the show, and we're expecting a great turnout. Now, ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, we, Sportcat 9, are not giving any false pretense or false hopes to anybody in this case. This is just a test, just like the government did way back when they had their own remote viewers when they were spying on Russia. Now, we found out tonight there's 2 psychics that were not able to make the show, so we're going to have a part 2 next week, and we asked Mr. Trey Hudson to come back, so which he has to check his schedule. Was there anything you want to add, Mr. Sportcat, before I bring Mr. Hudson on?
No, I'm good with that. That's fine.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, from coast to coast and around the world, Mr. Hudson. Welcome, sir. Welcome. Oh, you got your mic mute. I don't hear you. Say something again. Yeah, your mic is muted. Bottom right-hand corner, Trey, there's a little mic button. It's muted.
I think he's all muted.
I think he froze. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see if he comes back on. Glenn, or Sportcat, can you text him and let him know?
Yeah.
Strange case of missing people while fishing. No trace of boot or the fishermen involved. Yes, that is actually correct. Now,
and I text him. Yeah, probably.
Now, we do not know our outcomes from this. We really don't. We do not know what to expect. Like I said, we're not trying to give any false hope or false pretenses. From my understanding from Sportcat, it's still missing persons cases, and it's still open, correct?
That is correct.
So this is back from 2019. So wherever this goes, it goes. His screen's froze, Andy says. Yeah, that's probably what happened. I'm waiting for him to come back on.
Yeah, I just shot him a message. So, and I'm going to be honest, that doesn't surprise me. I kind of figure that.
We always got gremlins, ladies and
gentlemen. We're going to have some
gremlins.
So, yeah.
Yeah, we always got gremlins.
So, yeah, the case is still open. He said he's trying to connect now.
Okay, great.
Yeah, the case is still open. I looked it up, and they're still listed. There's a database in the U.S., maybe worldwide.
Yes.
Missing persons. And you can go on there and just put in a name, and it'll bring them up. What is the music? Is that you?
I actually hit a button by mistake. Just keep talking.
I thought I was supposed to start doing some kind of genie dance or something. I was wondering what that was about.
Please don't do that. Please.
Yeah. So
I'm actually in the dark right now. So yeah, I actually hit the wrong button.
Here's
You've
been in the dark for quite a while.
Mr. Hudson, welcome to the show once again. It's a pleasure having you.
I just got this sense of deja vu, like I've done this before.
Yes, you have.
Yeah, it was weird. The you would think that I would have been able to predict this, but it's like everything just completely dropped out. So, but I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me, guys. As Glenn knows, and you do, Grizzly. Remote viewing and this stuff is something that I'm very interested in, and I've dabbled in it a bit myself. So I'm really excited about tonight's show, and hopefully we can give some answers, find some answers, but I'm also relatively sure that we will generate some questions along with it.
Well, with that
Absolutely.
being said, explain everybody your history and also explain to them what remote viewing is, because some people out there probably don't know.
Yeah, my history is I'm a former Army intelligence officer. I got injured very early in my career. I've worked for the Department of Defense in a civilian capacity for 34 years. Am a security specialist. I've done everything from anti-terrorism stuff, protection of weapons of mass destruction. I was actually someone granted what they call exclusionary access, or PRP, personnel reliability program, and I actually had the authorization and the access to put my hands on the chemical weapons of mass destruction. So I had that level of access to it. I've done intelligence, counterintelligence, just all kinds of stuff during my career. It'll be ending in April. Now, just for the listeners out there, that's voluntarily. They're not firing me. I'll be retiring in April. But during that time, I also had an opportunity to train in remote viewing. And remote viewing is a very broad term. It's a way of looking at something remotely. And the remote viewing that I've been trained in is something called coordinate remote viewing, which was developed by the U.S. government and the Stanford Research Institute, used as basically as a spying tool against the Soviet Union and the Warsaw Pact. So it's a very structured, very detailed, very rigid way of viewing things remotely. And the kind of interesting thing is, I tell people I'm about as intuitive as a banana slug. I have absolutely no intuition at all. I'm not even remotely psychic, but everybody has this ability because human beings are multidimensional creatures, and it's a way of tapping into that ability that we all have.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, he's actually right. I've actually had the opportunity to not only interview Mr. Hudson, but I've also actually had the honor to interview a lot of people that have experience. So, Mr. Hudson and Sportcat, where would you like to start?
Trey, go ahead. I'll let you figure out where you want to start first. Who else backstage?
So we got Kathy, Gloria H, Kelly. We have Psychic Medium Bree. Hello, Bree. I see you waving back there smiling. We'll bring you up. So Kathy, Gloria, Kelly, and Bree right now.
Probably the cool thing to do is, since remote viewing, like the broad term remote viewing, is have each experiencer, each viewer, introduce themselves, talk about the modality that they're using, because I use coordinate remote viewing, which is different than enhanced remote viewing and other stuff, and then talk about how they developed their results, and then just lay it out there, and what they've come up with during this interesting case. I'm intrigued myself. I'm just as anxious as everybody else and excited to find out what's going on. So, like any good story, the best place to start is at the beginning.
All right, Kathy. Well, let's welcome Kathy aboard. Kathy, are you out there in La La Land? There she is. Welcome. What a beautiful background. Hello.
G'day.
All right, Trey, it's your show now, and I'll let you run it. We're on the backstage.
As Jessica needs the link, so I'm sending it to her too.
Oh,
Okay, great.
Okay, Kath. So, what methodology were you using to reach out into the the beyond, into the netherworld, and draw down information? What was your modality for tackling this this task?
For this one, I first considered CRV, but it became too complicated for me to get as much info that I was looking for. So first of all, I tested out the safety issues to see if they did want to be found, and I tested all the ethics. Because I'm in the Southern Hemisphere, I have to recalibrate for the Northern Hemisphere. So I'm always careful with that. So I doused. I started from where they went missing, when they left, and just kept picking until I could get to the end result. The tricky part really is being so succinct, and getting the questions so succinct that there's no grey areas. That was quite tricky because of the whole situation. But yeah, basically I did that. I do use control remote viewing with other, things that I'm looking for, or depends on the task. This one, as soon as I got in there, I realized how complicated it was. So I had to really delve deep.
Okay, so what are we looking at here, guys?
Now, can you see the map that I actually brought up, the safety zone A?
It's kind of small.
Is it? That's the biggest I can blow it up. But if you look real closely, since nobody else has trifocals, I just got diagnosed with that. That is actually, if you Google that, safety zone A, that is actually the reef and the main channel inlet where they were last seen. So that's just some, shows you the safety zone and the activation zone where people go diving and so forth. This is a heavy diving area. And I think Sportcat found that out. So let me close that out so I don't pollute everybody's show here. Let me click a button. There we go. All right, we're back.
So based on your efforts, what kind of impressions, Kath, did you come up with? What kind of data, and what kind of answers might you have to this this mystery?
Well, I've got about 6 pages.
Well,
like
She
you
went
don't,
in
like you say,
good.
you don't want to hurt anybody. You don't want to give false hope.
right.
So the first thing I did was test for proof of life. And then I went from there. So once I did that, then I started zoning in on mileage, positions. I just kept zoning back down to try and get my distances closer, directions, north, south, east, west. I tried to find the boat. I kind of figured the signal went dead. So to me, it felt like the whole boat was picked up and put into a larger boat. That way, it's the other questions and answers that I was asking kind of made sense, because it said, is the boat still in the water? Yes. It's not technically still in the water, but it is. And then I started measuring the depth of cargo ships to see if the depth would match my measurements with how far under it was. And could a cargo ship fit a boat, the size of theirs, just by a big winch and just dropping it straight in kind of thing. And then I realized, cargo ships apparently do have like 100-foot depth within. So it was highly possible the boat, was in the cargo boat ship. So then I tried to trace the cargo ship, see where it went, how often it goes there. Is it a regular trip they do? And then from there, I traced where I thought the boat stopped, and where the boys possibly got off. And then I traced the boys further and traced them further north. And then I just keep zoning in for distance. I get all my maps. I try and zone in as close as I possibly can, asking all these variables to try and make it as succinct as I possibly can to get rid of all those grey areas. That's pretty much what I did. I just kept dousing and dousing, and the more I doused, the more questions, so the more info I was able to add, I guess.
Sure. And something's interesting that you were talking about, and Grizzly brought up the image there of the safety zone there off of Port Canaveral. Is that area, is the eastern or western terminus of the fabled Bermuda Triangle. You know, that entire area, and that area is just chocked full of really weird energetics, you know, and you, even before Charles Berlitz wrote the book, you know, that area, you know, was known, you know, folklorically to be very strange. And off of, you know, not too far off of there is where the infamous last flight of Flight 19 happened. You know, so
wow.
That whole area is so energetically static.
Yeah, challenging, absolutely.
Yeah, it's static, like, and things seem to change really quickly. Like, you think you've got a signal, and then, you know, you're there, and then all of a sudden the signal will just ping. So you kind of have to regroup, get your head back in together again. And like if I was remote viewing, I'd call it a second session or third session, or because of that signal, like you say, it's so static is all I can say. It's just static. It kind of changes so quickly and deeply.
Mm-hmm.
Very odd area.
Yeah, it's very strange, and it's got to be remote viewing that area or using any of the methodologies or phenomenologies. It has to be almost like trying to pick up a signal through, like you said, a bunch of static.
It is, and like the static is almost it's like you've got to retune in to get back in onto the different static of a whole bunch of statics, and then it's hard to stay there because of all the interference. It's almost like someone's trying to not let you look.
Right. And using a nautical term, you have to navigate your way through the openings and gaps in that static to get to the true data, to get to pull.
Yeah, that's right. And it seems tricky. It seems like there's I don't know how to explain it, but it seems like there's interference, whether it's purposely made interference or not, I don't know. But I just know it's really hard to stay on that signal.
So you mentioned you mentioned a cargo ship, like as though their vessel was actually picked up, and the Coast Guard does that all the time with small, 24-foot inflatable rigid hull boats. They'll lift them up and put them on their cutters and go around. The military does it too.
Yeah.
So after after the vessel was placed on the cargo ship or in the mothership, I don't mean like a UFO, but I mean like a larger vessel. Yeah. But what are you picking up any indications of what might have happened, or
From what I doused, it seems like the boys were out fishing. They ran into something they weren't supposed to run into, accidentally. There was 2 other boats involved. From what I can gather, they picked up the whole boat, their boat, put it in the big boat, and then they took the boys on the other boat and took them south. I've got it written down here somewhere. Further south, down south of that map that you just showed. And then they were transported to another boat. And that one went right up around to the top of near the American-Canadian border. And then I left the big boat there for then. And then I went tracking the boys to see how they got in, how they got across the border, how far up they went, how many people they were with, how dangerous the people that they were with are. Do they have any connections to any other things? Were the boys safe? Were they hurt? Were they healthy? Is their mind okay? I delved into all of that to see how the boys are. They seem fine. They've lost weight, of course, but they seem to be keeping their fitness up, which is good. And it seems the place where they seems to be highly protected, gated almost. They can't get out by themselves. Whether I'm right or not, I don't know, but I keep tracking them. And the big ship that seems to go up to the Canadian border is doing it weekly. So I don't know what other. I haven't delved any further into any other funny business. I'm just staying as straight as I can to whatever funny business is going on now, because it's too dangerous for everyone, all of us.
So are you thinking criminal, military, governmental? Are you picking up any kind of analytic overlay on that kind of vibe?
The boat, I gotta be so careful.
Yeah, I do. I get it.
The boat that picked them up appeared to have other involvement, yes, of what you were saying. But I zoned in onto uniforms, insignias, stuff like that. And then I went further. They seem to know what they're doing, whoever these group are. They seem extremely cluey with IT. Safety, security, I'd say they're pros. And I think that's why, if I pray I'm right. I'm praying the boys are safe and happy, like as best they can be. But they seem to have something going on that's coming on further down the track, which means they seem to be using the boys for their local information. And because of how honourable the boys are, I think they're being well protected. Like they seem safe and well, but they're just trapped. Yeah, they can't get out because the whole area, from what I can see, seems to be high security. There seems to be some sort of underground, not tunnels, but maybe old mines or old pipe ground. Or it's hard to see what's really going on from what I didn't go any further. I thought I'd leave that for later because it's
a rabbit hole.
It's a big rabbit hole, a dangerous rabbit hole.
I'm afraid
don't want
you're
anyone
right.
getting hurt, like any of us, the boys. That's why I'm very careful about this.
And ladies and gentlemen that's about to come on the show, if you feel like you have other information that cannot be broadcasted live, let us know. We can regroup, excuse me, after the show with Mr. Hudson and Sportcat and Grizzly and converse and share that information. So we understand. We really do.
It's so I feel so close to them. Like they're waiting for us to help them.
Yeah, and it's
really
funny you say that. They searched this whole area. I think they used 481 man hours over the course of 10 days. And I think it was in the comments there, it's roughly the size of the state of Montana. And then the volunteers extended it up from almost up to Newfoundland, down to, where our waters are in Canada. And the Coast Guard, they even sent down, I don't know ranks, so Trey, forgive me, but he was one of the higher ranking chiefs in the Coast Guard to be command because it got so large. And even he made a comment, and the wife keyed in on it. The only thing that was found out of this was a floating tackle bag. That was it. And they were like, that's a needle in a haystack.
The feeling I get from that tackle bag is that when they were putting them onto that boat, they purposely dropped that. And it was the only thing they could drop as a clue.
And
it was
the
all
wife,
so fast.
The wife actually said that in an interview on one of the television stations because the way it was packed. And I believe, I may be wrong on this, but that was the one of the two firefighters had done several tours in Afghanistan and was a military medic, actually Purple Heart recipient. So yeah. He would know what he's doing.
It's so hard. Like, if I'm right about them picking up the whole boat and then putting it in the other boat, then they wouldn't find it.
No, she's absolutely right. Yeah.
And like if you're dousing in that and you say, is the boat, like, where's the boat? Is it on land? Is it in water? Is it wrecked? It all kind of glued in, like, because it wasn't on land, it wasn't here, it wasn't there. It definitely was picked up and put on that ship from what I can gather. And the ship had weird markings because I haven't done a lot more work on the ship, but the ship had weird markings, nothing from my language.
Mm-hmm.
So it was hard to get like logos whereas the men, totally opposite.
Yeah, it's interesting that now I'm going to delve into something I shouldn't talk about. I'll just stop right there.
Yeah.
Well, Grizzly could probably comment from a law enforcement side. I'm sure there's probably some activity down there.
So I actually went, and ladies and gentlemen, you can pull up the FBI statistics, DEA statistics, other crime statistics, and I was surprised about Jacksonville because I actually had family members living there. It's a very high crime rate, when it comes to narcotics, drug smugglers. They do find kilos of cocaine washed up on the beaches. They have problems with narco subs, and what those are, and I'll show a video towards the end of the show of the U.S. Coast Guard finding one. It was actually moving at the surface. That's the only way they found it. And it was a submarine to smuggle narcotics. They had 230 kilos of cocaine plus marijuana on board. And I don't know if they were recharging their batteries or whatnot, but they jumped on the narco sub and because they chased it for a while. I'm surprised they didn't shoot it and sink it, but they chased it and they jumped on top of it, and they were banging on the lid or whatever you call the top of it where they climb in and out.
Yeah, the hatch.
Thank you, sir, gentlemen. And the dummy opened it up like, who's knocking? Yes. And he was like, guns. Whoa. Throws his hands right up. So it looked like it was
too late to die then.
So, but yeah, so I'll show that video later. But there's other people backstage. Is there anything else, Kathy or Kat, that you like to add, or?
I don't know. I just hope the boys are safe and well, and we get them home without anyone getting hurt.
I do too. I greatly appreciate your time. Don't be surprised if us three circle back around and schedule a date to talk off air.
Thanks for having
that's
me.
Okay. Oh, absolutely. It's been an honor of us.
It has. You're amazing. I appreciate it.
I'm honored to be amongst you guys. I really appreciate it.
It's an honor of us. Like I said, all three of us will probably circle back and set up a date and time and talk again. Okay.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Thanks
Thank you.
me.
All right,
nice
ladies and gentlemen, Kath, I forgot what country she was from.
She is from a little town, and I'm going to butcher the name. I'm just going to say Australia.
What is it? Australia?
Yeah, I'm in Uralla. It's
Uralla.
Granite Mountains in New South Wales. It's high up, pretty isolated.
Okay. I have somebody in the audience want to know, do you have a GPS coordinates or anything?
Not on me.
Okay. All right. We'll talk about that later. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Take
All
care.
right. Bye-bye.
See you, Kat.
All right. So that was very interesting. Next up, we have Gloria. Gloria's coming up. Hello, Gloria. Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Hi.
Hey, Gloria.
Good. When I was listening to Kath, it's like I was looking at my notes, and then it was just like, oh my gosh.
Really?
Some things overlapped, and I have detail of that underground city that I got back October. I had October of last year before I even knew of anything, because I get random visions. But I don't need to jump ahead. Hi.
Hello. Welcome to the show. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am a natural born clairvoyant. I also do remote viewing, spiritual gift of healing, remote touching. I have I'm a medium. I can speak with dead spirits.
Wow.
Usually I see in detail.
Wow. That's impressive.
and I've helped some families find their loved ones. And one family, I got all these visions and stuff, and everything was detailed. And it took me 3 months to locate the family, and come to find out they were in on the family member's murder and offered a death threat. And I went, whoops, I'm done.
Wow. Yeah. That's something else.
That's pretty sad. Yeah, it is.
It is.
So, you heard Kath, and
Mhm.
got some ideas of kind of what she said. So, what you mentioned some of the skill sets that you bring to the table, that you're a practitioner of.
Mhm.
So, what was the main modality of you taking a look at this target and the pulling information from it?
I use two modalities equally. I use mediumship,
Mhm.
where I called on Brian's spirit because I could not pick anything up with Justin.
Hmm.
And I was in complete communication with Brian's spirit in and out. And then I also did remote viewing.
Mhm. Okay, very good, very good. So, what were your impressions?
Well, I noticed that I had in one vision, I saw Brian standing there with his hands up, and it was as if he was being pushed backward, as somebody pushed him backward, had him at gunpoint. Because I figured with his background, if anyone had a knife, then he could go ahead and overcome the person, but I believe it was a gun. And then a little while later, my right lower rib hurt and the outside of my rib cage, and pain to my lower back muscles. And I asked Brian, "Are you okay?" He said, "I'm sore." So but he said, "I am doing okay." And then I did see when Sportcat had mentioned that they possibly found another tackle box, I saw the hull of a boat in water.
Mhm.
But I also saw that their boat completely disappeared. And like Kat, I went and looked at the map,
Mhm.
and I asked, "Are they down south of Florida?" I heard no. So I went up forward and I said, "Where are they?" They said they went north. I said, "How far north?" And I heard Canada.
Hmm.
Wow.
And also what I found interesting was another time I heard Brian's voice saying Josh has been hurt. So I don't know if that was one of the people who were involved with it, but he just said Josh has been hurt. And then I saw someone slip and fall, but it was a completely black silhouette.
Mhm.
But I couldn't get anything further other than a black silhouette. And I asked and received nothing back. And I also, one day I was sitting and I said, "Okay, let's take a trip. Let's take a trip to wherever I need to go to find Brian and Justin." And what I saw was a house with a huge grass lawn, white picket fence, and there was a huge shrub out of it. And then I heard the FBI is watching.
That's interesting.
Yep. And what I want to talk about the vision I had last October.
Sorry, I didn't get that. The internet isn't reachable.
Somebody's eavesdropping.
Alrighty then. The FBI is watching.
What I saw was in the vision, the ground opened up and it was an underground tunnel. And as I followed this little being, kept looking at me for me to follow. And I said, "Okay, let's go together." And the walls are tan and gray, and it was like stone under the ground. And Then also I saw a life unit, like, similar to what the Indians had in their caves, but it was a life unit with tunnels running off into other rooms and areas.
So did
And
you get
that,
oh, I'm sorry.
go ahead.
Did you get was this a man-made tunnel or structure, or was it more formed like a concrete conduit or a man bored, artificially bored type tunnel or opening?
I believe it was made. I
Man-made.
believe it took years for them. I
Right.
believe this was planned because I saw it was outside of I was in a restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't even recognize that I wasn't in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went out to a railing, and there was you could go left or you could go right. But then I was taken forward. My spirit was taken forward and then went down there were slabs. Like, how you have the large stone slabs you can put to decorate outside?
Yeah, flagstones.
Right, flagstones. And that's what I went down under. So it's under, it could be by a restaurant, it could be by food, something that has to do with that. It's like they're hiding in plain sight.
That is interesting because various places, and they really were prominent during the Cold War, is there were a lot of underground contingency facilities. Mount Weather's one of them. There's a big facility in Greenbrier, I believe it was West Virginia, the Greenbrier Resort, and they were often hidden under restaurants, hotels, things like that. So that's very telling that both you and Kath are picking up on this. I don't want to say government, but almost, kind of a structured feel, to that. So that's very that's interesting. That's very interesting. That actually is not where I thought this was going to go. So that's really intriguing.
And that's all that I've picked up, but I did see them go north, and they were in another vessel. I couldn't see the size of it. All I could see was their energy go forward.
So as far as you can tell, I want to make sure that I understand. I hate to ask this question, and please forgive me, ladies and gentlemen. So at what you saw, they are both still alive, possibly?
Usually when I bring up someone's spirit, it's because they have passed.
Because they have passed, okay.
Yeah.
So are we talking one or both?
I can't pick anything up on Justin, so I believe he's probably still alive, but I can tap into Brian's spirit. And if he knows somebody in the family by the name of Josh and knows that Josh was in an accident or a friend of the family, then he has definitely passed.
Okay. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this is a very soft topic to tap into. We have people that has a lot of emotions and feelings that we're probably re-stirring up, especially friends, families, loved ones. So we just want to be cautious on this. This is a test that Sportcat wanted to put together and see how it worked out, and maybe do things on other cases in the future. So just keep that in the back of your mind. We're not here to make any, false promises or false hopes. That's we have specialists here like Mr. Hudson that's involved. So if we need to take our information further, he's got the contacts and so forth. But okay, is there anything else, Gloria, you'd like to add before we move on to Kelly?
No, that's all that I have, unless Trey has any questions for me.
No, I've got like about 800 questions rolling through my mind right now, and I've been kind of taking some notes. So, but no, I'm good right now, and I do appreciate your time and effort in this project.
Okay. If Trey, if you need to get in contact with me later with any questions, I'd be happy to help.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Gloria, where are you from? What? Don't just general.
Arizona.
Arizona. So Okay, so Australia,
Well,
Arizona.
yeah, Gloria, you might know of a place called Sierra Vista, Arizona, and what
Yes,
goes on down there. Yeah,
I've been down there a couple of
that
times.
was
Yes.
I was stationed down there for a little bit.
Fort Huachuca.
Yeah,
I've been through there too.
yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you,
Oh, yeah.
Gloria. I'm glad she was able to appear on the show. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I am keeping everybody backstage. Just let Trey and Sportcat know. So, ladies, I don't think we have any gentlemen. No. If you have anything that's alarming or whatever, wave your hand back and forth in the air like we just don't care, and I'll bring you back on when the time is right. Ladies and gentlemen, without ado, Kelly. Let's welcome Kelly to the show. Look at that beautiful smile. Welcome, Kelly.
Hey, Kelly, you're muted.
Hi.
Hey,
Hello, hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
It's an honor. Trust us. It's very
Happy to have
honor.
you.
Thank you.
So I'm in Alberta, Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
So welcome from the great cold north.
Yes.
So, Kelly, what's a little bit about your background? Kind of like I've asked, Kath and Gloria. What's your modality? What's your methodology of gathering data that might not be apparent, to the rest of us?
Right.
And how do you go about doing that?
I'm an intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
Things, information, it just comes to me. I don't know how. I don't know why I know the things I know. Sometimes it's past, sometimes it's present, sometimes it's future. So I say I'm an intuitive empath. I pick up on a lot of what other people are feeling or what they've experienced through my connection. I'm also one of my strongest is psychometry. So some people have called me a physical medium. If I have something to touch or
Mm-hmm.
I'm totally immersed in the environment, I get a lot of information that way. I say I'm recently out of the cabinet because it wasn't something that we talked about in my family, but it's
Mm-hmm.
something that my close family knew that I say strange things and,
Mm-hmm.
I smell dead family members. And so that's kind of my experience. And I have no training. I
Mm-hmm.
just have kind of always done it. And sometimes I get something, sometimes I don't. So that's kind of a bit about me.
Mm-hmm. So, what were your impressions on this case? What were some of your feelings and intuitions?
For me, it was really, really interesting. It was the information as it came to me was extremely choppy. And it was like an echo. So I had a hard time maintaining
Bluetooth disconnected.
the connection
Bluetooth connected.
and keeping the focus or whatever was going on in that way. What the other lady said made sense because the impression I got was shielding. They're being shielded somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And it has the word together came up. It was like it was shouted at me in a very soft male voice, like not like it was like together, like it was really important, but it was the only word that came across that strongly. So I feel like they were together. I also kind of had the thought come to me that wherever something to do with EMP.
Yeah. That's it. Very interesting. You mentioned EMP because when we were just talking to Gloria, we talked about the strange energetics of that area off the eastern coast of Florida.
Right.
in the Bermuda Triangle, and it's almost the same. The same articulation that you just gave. That static interference, confused signals. And as you were talking and you mentioned shielding, the first thing that popped into my mind was how we shield electronics, from spurious electronic emissions. And we use something called a Faraday cage, which can be something as simple as a metal box, right? And then, as I'm thinking that, you mentioned EMPs, which is the Mac Daddy of ways of destroying electronics using electromagnetic pulses. So, yeah, that's it's you're definitely on signal, I think, but I'm kind of like you. How does all this fit together? And shielding, though, also a big metal box
Cargo ship
that we put in the ocean is called a ship. So, I mean, you're tracking right along with some of the stuff that Gloria was saying, which is absolutely fascinating from where I'm sitting.
Good. I did get some body sensations because I do tend to experience what other people experience. So I'm just going to pull up my notes on that and tell you what I felt, which was very odd to me as well. And I didn't get names. All I got was the pictures. So that I and the numbers, but the numbers, I looked at them and I was like, oh, what are those? Next. And it went straight to the pictures. So the blonde gentleman or the light-haired gentleman with the crooked, mischievous smile and the warm freckles, the body sensations I felt from that photo was heat and pressure, about the temples, pain and ache that was intense. I didn't know where. It was just like a whole kind of, it just dropped on me. And then the second photo, I got that he was shy, and somebody said to him he had a perfect smile, and I had neck and tongue, something to do with the voice and pressure again, intensity, tingling, and the word caught. That came up. And like I said, the word together. So that was, it took a fair bit of work for me to try and get that information, and it was very piecemeal. So I try not to add my own anything to it. It's raw data that I give. And that's kind of how I get it.
Did you? And of course, I'm a coordinate remote viewer, so I go about this a little bit differently than you do. But we have something called a AI, or an aesthetic impression, which is kind of the overall gestalt, of the situation. And so, were you picking up panic, fear, peace, confusion? Did you have a
confusion? Yes, right. I didn't get panic. It was. And this is going to be an odd term, but it's when they were talking, this is the thought that came to my mind: suspended animation. And that was a weird thing to, yeah. And that's a weird, yeah.
Well,
I don't judge it. I just pass it along.
Yeah, no, I got it. I got it.
Yeah.
Suspended animation. That's,
interesting term.
That is. It's got me thinking about energetics, because you mentioned EMPs and suspended quantum stuff and all of that. So that's interesting. That's very interesting. So, gentlemen.
No, she has got a wealth of information there. And now, Kelly, where are you from?
I'm in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm actually shocked because
I didn't tell Grizzly any of this stuff.
No. So I'm shocked, because it seems like we're seeing a trend here, right, ladies and gentlemen? So, I mean, it's not like we're seeing UFOs coming down to the water and sucking up the boat or anything. It's really amazing to see how everybody does and use their abilities that they have to come up with whatever comes to them. It's just amazing. So, Kelly, I greatly appreciate you being on the show. I really do.
Can I add one more thing?
Oh, absolutely. Yes,
I
ma'am.
believe I sent you a audio of a channeled bit I did. Did you receive it? I think Glenn, Sportcat.
I probably did in one of my 200 emails.
If not, email that paranormal
you sent
or
it in
guys
Wait.
at Gmail.
Just because I don't listen back to my channeled information because it's usually not for me, so I don't remember it. I just record it and then I pass it along.
You sent it through chat, and I did have it, and I just sent it to Grizzly so he can play it.
Okay, great. Okay, great.
It was just the one, correct? You did do that. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you, ma'am. And once again, I'm going to keep you backstage. And if you need
play
anything,
the file and
listen to it, yes. We'll go from there. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you, Kelly.
You know what? It's amazing. Bree, you are up next, Bree, if you can hear me. So I don't know, Mr. Hudson. What do you think about this? This is like really amazing.
Yeah, what's interesting is there are, and you know, Glenn's trained in this stuff too, so he can kind of articulate maybe a little bit of what I'm saying. Is you pick up fragments, and sometimes that's about the best you can do. But what's really cool about this is there are commonalities, and the commonalities are coming out of left field, energetics, boxes or shielding, and it's kind of, like I said, I hate to say this, I did not RV this at all, but kind of I went into it like, it's some guys went off the coast of Florida and they had some sort of problem with their vessel, and their bodies. We had somebody that the family knew years ago, and their bodies didn't turn up for several years. It was just a horrible accident at sea. But but we're picking up this other stuff, which is just absolutely amazing and intriguing, and I'm just really excited about it because everybody's just hitting on these on these salient points, and it's starting to paint a very vivid picture. So I think this is really cool. I mean it's a sad and somber subject, but I'm excited by the some of the outcome that's coming out of these professionals out there.
Yeah, absolutely. We have Bree. Bree is from Australia. Let's welcome her to the show. Bree, welcome.
Hello, how are we?
Doing fine. So let everybody know where you're from and what you do, and I'll let Mr. Hudson take it over.
Hey guys, how you going? Trey and Glenn, how you going? So I'm Bree. I'm a remote viewer, and I'm also an evidential and energy psychic medium. So I work with energy. I'm a big believer in it. Well, not a believer. I'm a big worker with energy. I'm mainly claircognizant, so I just know things. Does that make sense? Like I don't know how I know, but I know. I'm also a clairvoyant, so I get things very visually, very detailed, if that makes sense. But I don't usually because I've never had any training, so I don't usually go into most of the detail where I probably should, but I'm just going to go with what I've got so far. But the first thing that I got with Brian was water. That was the first thing that I got as soon as I looked at his picture was water. I do feel like that they are both not involved, but I do feel like that they've been either washed up somewhere, right? But I'm seeing sand wherever they are, and I feel like it's, for God's sake, sorry, just give me 2 seconds. Sorry about that. But I do feel like
it's not me. Go ahead.
I do feel that wherever they are, they're around water. I do feel that one, if not both, may be alive. I do feel like one definitely is. And I also feel like there was a black dog with them as well, if that makes any sense. I do feel like there was a black dog with them, and I do feel that, as the lady said at the start, one is hurt. I do also feel that there could be military issues, or not military issues, but military personnel involved in what's going on, because I feel like this person could potentially know too much and they've got themselves into trouble. So that's what I've got so far. I do feel like that they are definitely around sand, and I'm seeing a boat upside down, if that makes sense as well. So whatever's happening, they are somewhere. But when you said that they were near that map, I do feel that they would be somewhere up there. I feel like they maybe even got caught in a current, but I do feel like they might have even run into issues with, a broken, like a sinking boat, or just something happened. Maybe it could have been like a shark attack, something totally different to what I've got from everybody else, but still similar features. I also do feel like that there is either a storage container involved, as well as they're in, yeah, it could either be a storage container, whether they were in the storage container going to where they are and they were dumped there. But I do feel like that's what I've got so far. But there's a lot of fire. There's like a campfire usually involved as well. So they are roughing it, if that makes sense. But I do feel like the dog might have gone missing for a little while and they found it again. But the bag that the first psychic said something about, I did pick up on something being out in the ocean as well, floating around as a clue, so to speak.
So you're also kind of coming up with an impression that this had some sort of human involvement. It wasn't like their engine malfunctioned and they drifted and capsized and sank, but there was other human beings involved, perhaps maliciously. And I don't want to put words into your mouth. Forgive me for doing that.
That's what I'm feeling.
Yeah, that's so. As I asked before, in CRV, like I said, we have a thing called a aesthetic impression. So, what's the gestalt that you're picking up on this? Kind of an overall feel, for this particular incident and these two young men.
I feel like that someone else has definitely been involved with what's been going on. It's almost like not too sure what happened there. I'm not too but so with the sorry, I got distracted by the you muted my mic. Look, I do feel like that they're being kept somewhere. Whatever's going on, I feel like he knew too much information because he might have been in the military or he might have been part of some sort of government operation, that he knew too much, or there was some sort of issue with something coming to light. Something happened where they were obviously, I think, followed for a little while. Somebody else has been involved, I definitely feel, and I do feel that they are looking for an opportunity to kind of bolt. But the black dog, I feel, could be a staffy or a pit bull. A short-haired domesticated breed dog. It's got like a white thing down its chest here as well.
Right.
And I feel like it's got like a piece of paper under the collar as well. So whether they've sent the dog off with a note, perhaps, or there's been something that's attached to the collar. But I do feel like this dog's probably, a big clue, maybe. So that's just what's on there as well.
And now this is what I wasn't going to talk about earlier. I'm still not going to talk about, but I've got some ideas rolling into my mind that it has to do with some geopolitical issues that are going on down around the Panama area, there in Central America. So it's got me. I was actually in Colombia and Panama last week. So that's fascinating. No, that's really tying in very, very good with everybody else's impressions, which is is really neat. Grizzly, Sportcat, impressions, thoughts, comments.
I'm actually shocked. I don't know what happened to your mic, Bree. So when you said that, I got whiplash and hurt myself. Because I was like, oh no, please tell me the gremlins are not attacking the system. Very interesting. I don't know what to say. This is, like Sportcat said, that I was not kept abreast of any of this. Bree and I did not communicate or talked about anything prior to the show. So yeah, I mean, it seems like we're having a lot of commonalities going into the same direction with different points of views. It's like everybody's looking at a different angle, a different perspective. I guess that's the best way to put it, right? So that's really interesting. So yeah, what do you think, Sportcat?
Well, like everybody else has chimed in, I agree. And what strikes me is, we've now literally got people, and these people have never met each other. In fact, I never told Grizz who they were. And I never told anyone Trey was going to be on the show. So what I find unique about this, and I think I've said this before, either offline or somewhere, I'm hurting cats with this. I'm fielding messages and stuff. So if you see me doing stuff, but I think, and Trey can probably explain this better than I can, there's a signal line, and I call it the matrix. I'm not really sure the good term for it, but that's what I call it.
Sure.
And I think everyone has attached to it at some point. And I think, whereas somebody may get yellow and you may get water and somebody else may get, gun. Once you start putting things together is, I think, how you get a better picture.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know that we'll paint the whole picture, but I think we're out there. I think we're all connected to it.
Yeah, absolutely. There's, there's quantum theory that everything is connected to everything else in a quantum state. And, that's been proved by something called spooky action at a distance or quantum entanglement. You have things related and connected, but they're not connected. So they're connected through another dimension. Everything that has ever existed, that exists now, or will exists in a quantum state. And what psychics and remote viewers do is they're able to pop through that veil into that quantum state and pull data out. Now, it might be a piece of data sitting in that quantum state, and I pull it out from this angle, and somebody else pulls it out from this angle. So we're each getting a different view or a different facet of the overall diamond, but we're all looking at the same diamond. And as you know, I was trained as a young intelligence officer, is you take this bit of data, this bit of data, this bit of data from different sources, and where they start to overlay and corroborate, that's where the moneymaker is. That's where the meat of the situation is. And I think that meat, the nuggets of data, the actionable intelligence, as we used to call it, is actually starting to bubble to the surface on this. And this validates, everything that I've known about, the matrix and, being able to pull this stuff out of the psychic realm. And here we are, we're doing it live with people that have never met one another, that have been given a very, very scant bit of information about a situation, and it's all coming together. So I think everybody ought to be proud to be part of this project. I know I am.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, I'm very delighted. Yeah. And Bree, was there anything else that you'd like to add or anything? Or
That's pretty much everything. I just keep hearing go down south. If that helps. It's down south from the location that they went missing. If you come up to like a riverbed, it'll be more on the left. That's what I'm seeing. So I'm seeing it as like a road. So what Spirit's showing me is the river being shown as a road. So I can identify what side of the river to look on. So if I'm saying on the left-hand side of the road, it would be saying the left-hand side of the river.
Right.
I'll send you a picture of a map after a while.
Yeah, okay. I think we need to.
Bree, I'll send you a picture of a map after a while.
Yeah, I haven't even seen them. Well, I saw the map at the start.
This won't be that map. So it'll be something different. Okay. It'll be for this, but it'll be something different. Bree, thank you as always.
Yeah, absolutely, Bree. I'll talk to you soon, and I'll keep you background. So, yeah, absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, we got an email up, Paranormal Guys, right? If you do have any information or want to send us anything that you may think or know somebody that has abilities and want to have them contact us three, that's where the email address is for. We actually monitor that email address 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Either Sportcat or myself, we will contact you immediately. Well, unfortunately, when he clicks on it, I don't see it. So then he yells at me because I don't get it. But we will get it. And if it's for Trey, we'll actually reach out and let Trey know. We got Susie that queued up, and we're going to Jessica next. Jessica, I just cannot believe this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, she is ready to go. Let's welcome Jessica. Welcome to the show. Hello.
My cryptid huntress.
Yes. Welcome. Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I can. I can hear you.
Perfect.
Loud and clear. Can you guys hear me?
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Oh, loud and clear.
I am just a normal everyday person. There's nothing special going on here. I'm on a team with Trey and Ben, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I have fun. I like remote viewing. It's a hobby. I don't claim to be an expert in it, but I like doing it.
Well, Jessica is being modest. She's my teammate. She's my hero. When something goes wrong, I don't run behind Trey. I run behind Jessica. She knows why.
He's a lot meaner than I am, that's for sure.
Well, that's true. So
I've gotten a lot meaner lately too. Y'all don't know. Y'all have no idea how mean I've gotten.
Well, I don't want to know. But
yes, ladies and gentlemen, she is very modest. I can assure you that. So yes, absolutely.
she's got her own show and does all kinds of great things, and I'm just glad that she would come on here and do this with me.
So, and I'll jump in here. Jessica, she is one of the most accomplished remote viewers that I know. And she was trained in the same class I was. So, we are kind of remote viewing buds, and learn from the same instructor. So, you tackled this project, and thank you very much for doing so. And did you use, a standard remote coordinate remote viewing protocol when looking at this, or did you use something else?
I mean, I got to tell you, I had no idea what the target was until a few minutes ago.
Right.
So I was given a set of 8 numbers, and that's all I've had. And I still didn't know what this was until I logged on a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I was listening to the other ladies talk. I got 8 numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can go through my data and tell you, because it lines up with a lot of what the other ladies have said. But I got to tell you, I literally had no idea what this was until just a few minutes ago.
Yeah, and if I can jump in here for folks that aren't real familiar with CRV, a lot of times what we're given literally, and I am not joking, and Glenn and Jessica can corroborate this, is 8 numbers, 2 sets of 4 numbers, 4 numerals. And that's all you have. And you use a methodology to start to pull data, from the matrix, from that netherworld, and develop a picture of the situation, the person, the event, whatever is going on. So I am stoked for you to tell us what you've got going on, Jessica.
Well, I mean, I didn't know that it was 2 men that were missing. I mean, and I just did kind of a quick target. I wasn't like really getting deep into it because I had no idea what it was. I was actually scared it was like some kind of gruesome murder or something, and I didn't really want to get into it because
Thanks,
when
Jessica.
I get into like seriously, no offense, Glenn, I asked you though. You did tell me it wasn't after I asked, because when I remote view blind targets like this, and it is some kind of gruesome murder or something, it really brings me down for about a week. No matter how much I protect my energy, it's really taxing. So I don't like doing these things, to be honest, unless I just have to trust that it's not going to be a gruesome murder. However, because I have remote viewed that before, and it's not fun. So, and I do a lot of remote viewing, and so I'm pretty selective now as to who I let give me targets and stuff. But yeah, I will tell you straight away, I did pick up, I was on the water, and I didn't know if I was on a lake or an ocean, but it was large like an ocean, but I figured it could be a large lake. There was someone that was having, like, they had very dry lips. Okay. Like dry lips. They couldn't breathe very well, feeling kind of suffocated. I was getting a headache. I was feeling a headache. I was hearing popping noises. I was started to feel cold, like I was underneath the water, and it was, I was seeing purples and blues, almost like somebody's face was turning a little bit purple. So I was trying to remember the word vessel, and I couldn't remember the word vessel. I wrote vehicle down because there was something, I didn't want to say a boat, but I could not remember the word vessel, so I wrote vehicle down, okay, in my data. I did pick up on a tunnel. That was part of my AOL, was a tunnel, either inside the ocean or the lake. It was like under something. There was a tunnel. Mm-hmm. And I got it right after my lake and my ocean data, okay. I also started picking up on a lot of Spanish words, and I don't speak Spanish, okay, so not well. So I was picking up on Spanish words. I actually, at some point, picked up on either Mexico or New Mexico. Okay. But I was getting Los Angeles, Angels, City of Angels, things like that. I picked up on a cabin. Now, listening to the other women who had remote viewed this, it could be a cabin of a boat or a ship of some sort, I guess. But I did pick up on that. Okay. I also was hearing a lease, like, I don't know, or a lease on live, some kind of, somebody was really sore. Okay. There was somebody that was sore. They were either buried or they were closed in, like trapped inside of something. that felt very primitive, like a cabin that was very primitive. And it was in the shape of a box or a cube. Okay. Primitive living is what I was picking up on. Okay. And when I was hearing the other ladies a while ago talking about their data or their psychic insights to all of this, I was thinking, well, I'm trying to make sense of my data listening to them. Right. And I was thinking, well, maybe these men were perhaps, taken away somewhere and put in some kind of confinement. Okay. But I didn't know, like I said, I had no idea what I was looking at here. I didn't know what I was remote viewing. Someone was having bad chest pains, and there was a conscious awareness of whatever was going on. Okay. These people were conscious and aware. But I did pick up on a shooting pain in someone's chest. And I was not sure if someone had been shot or had like a heart attack or something, but I was picking up on chest pain. Okay. When I started picking up on that, I did a deep mind probe on the person who was having chest pain. Okay. And I said, what happened to you? And the person told me there was chaos, darkness. They were overwhelmed and they were in a lot of depression. Okay. A lot of depression. There was some sort of a surge. Okay. That wasn't my sensory data. And then they were stuck. Okay. This person was stuck. I saw a dog. Okay. There's a dog and a dock. Okay. So a dog on a dock or a dog and a dock. Okay. Like a boat dock, D-O-C-K. Okay. And then I asked, where are you? And I got either Mexico or Mexico. Something I got desert, woods. So that's two opposites, right? Kind of wilderness. It says they ran out of time and they're gone, is what I was told when I did the deep mind probe. They ran out of time and they're gone. And I also got whoever I was speaking to was very emotional and crying. And that's pretty much my data in a nutshell right there. Now, Glenn did ask earlier today, like he messaged me, he said, is the person alive or they dead? I believe that whoever I was communicating with there, I believe they are dead. I believe they're deceased. And I don't know if it stemmed from something with their heart or I'm not sure. There's some kind of sharp pain in somebody's chest.
Do you believe one or both of them are deceased?
I mean, I was only communicating with one person, so I don't know. I didn't know there were two people. I don't know. I was just picking up like, what was the actual target? Can you guys read off like what the target was?
Yeah, I can read that. I've got it right here. Stand by, ma'am, and I'll.
Because that would make my data make more sense in my head if I knew what the target was.
Susan wrote it for me because I was trying to stay as aseptic as I could.
And he was trying to make sure not let me have any contamination for my psychics, whoever he was using. So, okay, here we go. On Friday, August 16th, 2019, two men headed out to sea to share a day of fishing from the dock at Port Canaveral, Florida. These two men had known each other for years and both were firefighters. They were headed about 30 miles. Go ahead.
Is this whole thing did you do like a paragraph long target or is there like a specific target?
No. There was, hold on. He may
okay. I read the paragraph. I was just wondering what the target was. What was like
okay, gotcha.
It should be like a couple of sentences.
Yeah. He may not have that file. I'm trying to find it right now.
It's okay. No, I'm just curious because I just logged on tonight and hopped on and I'm like, oh my God, these women know they knew what the target was before they did this. I didn't.
No, actually they didn't. They didn't. No, okay. They either asked for everybody asked for different information and
okay.
So Grizz was getting so frustrated with me. They were wanting either names or a picture and our numbers. So nobody got all three. They only got one of the three. So the picture I sent was so did Kath and I'm sorry, the second lady. Kelly.
Gloria.
That's all she had as well.
Yeah, yeah.
That's all they had as well. In fact,
Huh.
I think it was
Cool.
Gloria emailed me and said, "Is this them?" And it was the picture that's on our banner tonight. So
Okay.
there's been a lot of strangeness on this one, I'll tell you. And I think I contacted everybody a few months ago about doing this. So this has been in the works for a while. And Jessica, I'll have to send it to you. I don't know where I put that note. But I do have it. So
It's okay. It's okay. I was just curious because it helps to kind of help me compute.
I got it right here. Brian McClooney and Justin Walker, firefighters lost at sea, August 2019. Current location, describe events surrounding disappearance. 16467127.
Oh, wow.
And that's actually, she sent me a picture of the note. So she stayed aseptic too. So
Interesting. Well, this is really cool what you guys are doing. I can appreciate it. Now,
it is great because everybody's getting little pieces.
Yes, they are. They are.
And I told you backstage.
On a dog. That's my
I
question.
don't know about the dog, but that doesn't mean anything. But
that's somebody else that picked up on the dog, though.
I said you were all over it, Jessica. You were there. So
did you hear that, Sportcat?
What's that?
That's two people picked up on a dog.
Yeah, Bree and Jessica. Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Also, Sportcat, check your phone. Somebody just messaged me to message you.
Good Lord, okay.
Jessica, that is interesting. I mean, unbelievable. Anything else you'd like to add? I'm keeping everybody backstage. I may bring everybody on at the end and say thank you and everything. It's your all's choice, but very interesting, especially short notice. That is, wow. Mr. Hudson, speechless once again. I mean, he's over there grinning. He's like, well, I know Jessica. I've trained with Jessica, and that's pretty awesome. It really is. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Jessica in the house. Thank you, Jessica. Greatly appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, guys. Yeah, interesting.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
yeah. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, up we have Susie Q. I love that song about CCR. Let's welcome Susie Q to the show. The one and only Susie. Hello. How are you doing?
Hey, how are you?
Wonderful. All right. Mr. Hudson, take it over.
Okay, Susie. Well, welcome. You've kind of listened to how we're kind of going about this. What's the modality and methodology that you bring to the table in trying to untangle this Gordian knot of mystery that we're trying to deal with here?
Well, I kind of got last minute information about what was going on a little bit, and my sister Penny kind of mentioned a little bit about what was going on and that there was somebody missing, and I wasn't really sure who. So this morning I was kind of sleeping and I was kind of seeing something, but what I saw was a woman, and she was walking and she was smiling. And so I don't know what that connection is, but that's what I saw. It was like a young woman. So I don't know if there is a woman there or there was a woman involved or what the deal was, but that's just what I saw.
So
everybody's still there?
So,
okay.
Not really
sure. Yeah. Yeah. Comm check. Everybody still good to go?
Yeah, we're here. Testing. Cool.
Okay. So you picked up on the young woman. You said walking. Did you pick up on any emotions or ecstatic, sad, concern, panic, anything like that? Or
she seemed the woman seemed real happy, and I knew there was something going on in the background, but I didn't know what it was. But I just saw her kind of moving sideways, and she seemed real happy. So I don't know if there was a connection to them, if they knew her, if she was involved or what. But it was just, that's what I had saw. So,
sure.
Don't know what the connection is. It's just, I just I get these dreams and stuff, and sometimes they don't make sense, but they do make sense somehow. Maybe there's a female involved. Maybe she lured them out there or wherever they went, or they knew her or something. But I think there's some, and I'm pretty sure she's alive. Maybe she knows something.
Now, did you get an impression that she was involved in the situation, or but maybe was just happens to be on the periphery without knowledge of what's going on? Because I know, at least, my experience, sometimes as you're trying to drill down on a target, you might hit off to one side or another and pick up somebody else and start picking up their emotions and their feelings, and they're not, they're adjacent to the target, but they're not the actual target. So do you think this person was involved or was a catalyst to the situation in any way?
I felt like they were in the background and she was in the forefront, like, but her emotion was happy. So I don't think I don't know the connection, but her emotion was happiness. Which, that could mean anything. It could mean maybe she was friends with them, or she knew them or something like that, but she didn't seem sad or anything like that. And you would think somebody who's missing somebody would be very sad.
Yeah. Or I'm trying to, run through kind of your overall aesthetic impression is perhaps, I know, when I've lost loved ones, which unfortunately we all have, is sometimes I like to think back on very happy and pleasant, things I've experienced with them. Glenn and I lost a very, very good friend back a few years ago. And when I think about him, I like to think about the very positive things, and it makes me happy. It makes me smile, on the, in the wonderful experiences we had with him. So that's a really good perspective.
Could be that.
All right. Well, that's awesome, Susie Q. I greatly appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, Susie Q.
It's not much, but that's all I have.
Oh, no. Every little bit helps.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Thank you. I'm going to put you backstage. I greatly appreciate your time and effort. What's weird, though, Sportcat, is that right before the show, Mr. Hudson is not aware of this, but we were talking, and what were we talking about? That some of the family members or a family member was like staying away from the media, and the other one's just like, hello, I'm here, and like nonchalant about anything and everything. And I mean, is she actually like picking up on one of the wives or something? Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know if it's sticking or not. Because Trey doesn't know that. Miss Tresson doesn't know that part. So you are muted evidently because I cannot hear you. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Typing. Hey, how's everybody?
Oh, the heavenly voice of Glenn.
Yeah, I thought we was watching one of those Tokyo movies. Hello. How are you?
This occurred in 2019, so if she was actually, she could have gotten in touch with the wife. And yes, one of the family members is more active. She's media present with Jacksonville Fire Department, the Gary Sinise Foundation. She's active with that. So she's very outspoken for, of course, her husband was also a veteran with those things. So she could have gotten that, because just my viewing is she is a very bubbly, energetic female, and the other spouse is more reserved and has not. In fact, I believe a cousin or a niece was the family spokesperson. And as far as I know, she never made an appearance on the media. She's always been back behind the scenes. I'm not saying that she didn't participate or anything like that. I'm just saying she chose not to be in the spotlight of it. I don't think the other one did, but I mean, she now, I'm looking back over time, this occurred a little while ago, 2019. now she is involved with the fire department and different charities and activities with them. And she does appear to me to be a happy, bubbly. And, now that I'm thinking about it, I did see a picture of her on a beach with her kids at a memorial. And there's a picture of her walking away from the camera. It's just coming to my head right now. That I saw on one of the pages. I think that might have been the Sinise Foundation. I'm probably butchering the name, and I'm sorry. But she's been very active with things.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're not trying to say that somebody's partying over somebody's passing by any means.
No,
we're just saying that a casual conversation was before the show, and it's weird that Susie Q actually hit it on that subject. And I've known people, being in law enforcement, Mr. Hudson knows people, Glenn knows people, and first responders, that when there's a tragic event, and whether it's a murder or loss of life or suicide or whatnot, missing people, usually most people do have a family spokesperson to take care of the media. That is the normal. And, a lot of people's like, well, they're not right. They're not making a media appearance. No, it's people cannot do certain things. We're not like everybody. We got somebody chiming in here. I'm bringing it up. Going to sign off. Woman need to give a GPS for the location where the boat and the remains. Night. Good night, Miss Jeanette Lucas. Thank you for showing up and watching our show.
I appreciate it. It means a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but yes, I mean, isn't that right, Mr. Hudson? People do have family spokespeople or neighbors to help out with media consultants or, entertain them or however you want to state it. So,
yeah. And people, process, things that are, I'm not going to use the word tragic because we don't know what happened to these young men. It might not be an automatic tragedy because we don't know, but, some people take comfort, from different things. Some people in their interpersonal relationships with others, some people their spiritual, view on things, and that can create a feeling of joy and euphoria, even in the most dire and horrible situations. I know in my life, I've got some reserves that I pull up, when I'm having grief, and I take great comfort in that. And somebody might look at that and say, why do you seem so joyful about this situation? It's because I've tapped into those, into those resources. So yeah, that's not uncommon, but, yeah, I'm just blown away. I know I keep coming back to that. And I sound like a broken record, but this, what we've come up with here is just fascinating. And I'll tell people what's kind of been percolating in my mind is a couple of things and I'm not saying this is what happened, but there is the Chinese have a very active presence on both ends of the Panama Canal. Okay. And like I said, I was actually down there last week and photographed some of the Chinese communist shipping terminals they have on either side of the canal where they're trying to geopolitically control that passageway. And based on kind of what I'm hearing, and y'all chime in if this makes sense, is they stumbled across something perhaps they were not meant to see that involved a governmental or military operation. And, as we know, the geopolitical currents are flowing strong right now. And they were also flowing strong back in 2019 as different countries were vying for control of some of these vital shipping ports. And as Grizzly talked about earlier, that area where he showed the intercoastal waterway and then just a little bit east of that is a prime shipping channel. He who controls the ocean controls the world. So, that's what I'm picking up just based on the pieces of information and overlaying the geopolitical reality of that area and that part of the world. I think it's painting a really interesting picture of perhaps a foreign governmental or foreign military involvement, and they stumbled into some sort of geopolitical operation that perhaps they were not meant to see. Thoughts?
Well, you know what I'm going to play this video for everybody. Let me adjust my mic. I kind of heft it down a little bit. I want to play this video about the narco sub because what really caught me strange, ladies and gentlemen, is that Spanish, when that verbiage was used, well, who brought that up? Does anybody remember? Somebody said foreign language, Spanish was being spoken.
I think that might have been Kath.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So now,
Kath. Yeah.
with that being
so.
said, watch your all's visions because it's going to take me a second to click the clip.
Don't put your porn up.
Oh my gosh, are you serious? Listen to this, Mr. Hudson. Is this what you got to deal with all the time?
I'm embarrassed. I'm mortified.
All right. So here we go.
Yeah.
Now let me know when this pops up and you all can see it here. I got many things on my screen. Let's see here. Now, let me blow it up.
Yep. Full screen it, please.
There we go.
There we go.
Now let me get rid of all this. Click it back. All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
We don't see anything, Grizz.
Nope.
You must have killed it.
Yep.
Did I kill it?
I think you closed the wrong window.
I probably did. That's just my luck. Let me pause it and let me
Producer's got to
back
produce
out of here. All right, here. Let me go back to the main program. Oh, I did. I hit quit sharing. That's why. Hello. I had it all tuned up. Perfect. Okay, here we go. Now I'm going to have to rewind it here because I was playing it and listening to it in my headphones. Present, share screen, and share this, share that, and then I'll blow it up, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Okay. All right. Do you see it?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now let me rewind it. Now this is from Inside Edition. Here we go.
We don't have audio.
You don't have audio?
That thing is actually traveling pretty fast.
Yeah. They're actually pretty sophisticated pieces of equipment.
I'm kind of impressed. That thing is going at a good clip.
They chased it for a while.
And then you see the two Coast Guard semi-rigid inflatables on either side of it.
And that's it out of the water? Wow.
Now watch this.
Yeah.
He about doo-dooed himself.
Oh, that's funny.
17,000 pounds.
Wow. And do you remember how many people were on board it?
Yeah, a lot of times they'll run, and there's a really good website called Covert Shores that talks about pretty much all things maritime, and they have a really good section on narco subs. And usually they'll do, one or two crew members. They're semi-submersibles. They, now the super advanced ones actually do go completely submersible, but those are semi-submersible, and they run just with the conning tower, just poking up out of the water where they can see where they're going. And then you'll have your snorkels and exhaust just above the surface of the water, but they're painted that turquoise blue to where they can blend in with the ocean. They're just a little tiny bit above the surface. So what's interesting is, and I was just down in Colombia, is they're doing a really hard yeoman's job of cleaning up corruption in that country to where the cartels used to control, some elements of the government. But it's strange that Mexico kept coming up because, as we do know for a fact, the cartels control certain elements of the Mexican military. And there's also the cartels that started forming paramilitary organizations that wear uniforms. Los Zetas is one of the really well-known ones.
See what I'm talking about?
And they operate just like the military. They use military equipment, military tactics. If you've ever seen a photograph of them, you'd say, well, those are, Mexican government military. No, they're cartel military. And, they are absolutely, cleaning our clock as far as bringing in drugs and other contraband into the U.S. So, once again, a governmental or quasi-governmental entity, the fellows saw something or stumbled across something that they weren't supposed to see. And if you start messing up somebody's geopolitical aspirations or their aspirations of making money off of illicit contraband, they're going to deal with you.
Yeah, and when Sportcat asked me to do a little bit of law enforcement background and research in that era, 2019, and see what I come up with, that route, however you are from north or south, say it, was very hot and heavy with those narco subs. And like I said, packages of cocaine was washing up on beaches. So what was sunk? What did they shoot and blow up? I mean, who knows? I mean, they actually allegedly chased the sub for some time before they jumped aboard. Because, I mean, the people on the sub did not know they were being chased.
No.
I mean, can you imagine out in the ocean and next thing you know, you hear somebody banging on top? That's why
hola.
Yeah.
Was it?
¿Qué pasa? Hola.
But when they said Spanish, and like you said, Mr. Hudson, the uniform and everything else, and you speaking, it's just like more tidbits of information. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Grizzly's not saying that the cartels or narco sub was involved by any means. Okay, so don't think that and jump to conclusions. But did you actually hear the audio? Because somebody said they didn't.
No, negative.
No.
Okay,
no
I'm
audio.
sorry. I meant to hit clear or share the audio. It was all in Spanish. So they were screaming in Spanish to the sub when they were running alongside of it with a PA. And then when they were banging on top of the lid, I know they were probably using foul language and telling them to open it up, but we don't know what they were saying, but it was in Spanish. So once again, tidbits of information coming in, and it's like pieces of a puzzle. Does it actually fit? Is it something that actually did occur? Did they actually, stumble on something? I mean, who knows? I mean, somebody knows something out there in La La Land's, what I call it. We got the email address up. Go ahead, Sportcat.
Well, I was going to say, I pointed out at the time to authorities, that's also a high traffic area for tourists. And the boat, although it wasn't a remarkable boat, it was a 24-foot black and white boat. It was in the same lanes as Carnival, Disney, all of them. I can almost guarantee that in somebody's selfie hanging off the boat, they could very well have had or have a photo of them. And I pointed that out to the authorities back then and was kind of laughed at. And I said, well, you might want to hire a social media person to go #cruise, because it's out there. I mean, there is an arson here in the area. I mean, like literally right around the corner from me, that the arson is posted on their Twitter account, pictures of them setting the Walmart on fire. And my local county fire department didn't go on social media and do any research. And it popped up and I saw it and I was like, poof, right to the fire marshal. And of course, red flag firemen sending pictures of arsonists. That's a red flag.
Gosh.
He questions me and I'm like, dude, this is where I got it. He's like, well, how did you think to go there? And I'm like, aren't you the investigator? I'm just curious.
Yeah.
So
You're the fire marshal. Yeah.
I'm just a lowly fireman. But
yeah,
that was something I pointed out to them at the time. So, I still think that that's highly a probable thing, but I don't know now that you'd ever find it. It's still find it needle in a haystack.
Yeah. It is. But ladies and gentlemen, the email address is out there. Paranormalguys, GUYZ@gmail.com. Don't be hesitant. Reach out if you know something or you have abilities and you want to chime in. That's what we're here for. Mr. Hudson, what do you think how it went tonight? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's and I'm gonna come clean here. Is I forgot completely about tonight. Like I said, I've been out of the country, gallivanting down to Central and South America, and yay, and yeah, that was I was out there tootling around on my narco sub. No, I'm kidding, folks. I've got to keep my clearance for about.
I was going to say, I know where you work. Yeah.
But anyway, so Glenn emailed me. He goes, "Hey, are we still on for Wednesday night?" And I'm like, "Yeah, for what?" And he goes, "You're going to be my my paranormal guru on it." I'm like, "Well, I vaguely remember something about it." And so I'm not going to say I came in unprepared. That's not quite completely true, but this was not on my the forefront of my radar as I was trying to get back in the groove of things, getting back to work and stuff. And all of that, all of that being laid out there is I am just blown away. I'm just so amazed at the similarities by our lovely ladies that came on tonight with what they were able to pick up. And not only am I amazed at the similarities, but many of them use different and divergent phenomenologies. We had people using CRV, we had intuitives, we had more traditional psychics, we had empaths, and they all were picking up on very, very important major points: vessel, box, tunnels, cabin, water, injury, all of these different aspects, and moving north. So I thought that it far exceeded my expectations. And I hope that, anybody listening and watching this tonight is as, number one, as excited, encouraged, and as amazed as I am.
No, absolutely. I totally agree with you. And matter of fact, thank you for your participation. And speaking of that, let's bring everybody back on. Kathy, Gloria, Kelly, and here comes Bree and Susie Q. Hello, everybody. Welcome. And hey, we want to say thank you so much for your time. I think we did really good. I'm surprised of everybody's similarities on everything. It sounds like somebody's got us on in the background. I guess not. That must be me. But I also want to say, I think we have something that we may want to reduplicate or replicate again in the future. What do you think, Mr. Hudson? Will you be game for something like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think the format was spot on. I think our experts were spot on. And I think this can truly be a vehicle for good. Absolutely.
Yeah, I really do. And for all the participants out there, I'm trying to get you off because I'm not showing everybody. Hold on, bear with me here. I knew somebody was going to laugh. I'm like, really? It's like, hey, Trey's all by himself.
Yeah, I know. I've got a face for radio.
There we go. Hello, ladies. Welcome back. So, yeah, but no, we really greatly appreciate your all's participation on everything. And like I said, if you need to talk to us offline, please do. That's what we're here for. Like I said, especially on, if it's can be something sensitive in nature or whatever, that's fine. No problem at all. But I just want to say thank you, and you all have a good night. And
before we let them go, now that they've all heard each other, and once again, some got a picture, some got a number, some got two names. Now that we've put this whole thing together, does anybody have any questions or any other thoughts they'd like to throw out there while we're at the end of the show? You don't have to. I was just curious. So, okay. All right.
Go ahead, Gloria.
What really amazed me was, things when Kath was talking, because I had seen and stuff, and I thought, this sounds weird. And all of us thought that we didn't have very much information, but it overlapped.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that is what really amazes me.
Yeah, like Mr. Hutton said earlier, it's like everybody has pieces of this 1,000-piece puzzle in their hands, right? And everybody's given us a piece of that puzzle from a different perspective. And we're trying to put this together. Right or wrong, we don't know. Indifferent, who knows, right? So this was something that Glenn or Sportcat came up with. And I'm like, yeah, why not? He's like, well, I'm not going to tell you anything because too many psychics and you can pollute, their, what do you call it, Mr. Hudson?
Yeah, we call it an analytic overlay. It's basically where you're preloaded with, your target.
Yeah, so I didn't know anything about it really to the last second. So I'm very impressed with everybody's abilities and similarities. So, yes, thank you all. Anybody else have anything to say? Oh, I thought Kathy was going to dance. I'm like, yeah, come on, break it out.
No, my back's stuffed.
Yeah, trust me, I know. I'm wiggling in my chair. You were going to dance.
I just think it's so amazing that we're all using different modalities, but we're all, like you say about the entanglement, we're all still hooking into the same lines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Susie Q? Anything to add?
Well, I didn't get a chance to hear everybody else's stuff because I got on later, but I'm just listening. But yeah, it's that the lady that I saw was very bubbly, and it could have very well been the wife, is what I was seeing.
And that's what I'm thinking. I don't know that to be a fact or not, but but that puzzle actually fits in my book, especially when Glenn was, our Sportcat was explaining to me very briefly right before we went live. So, I mean, that's very interesting. It really is. Bree from Australia too. What about you?
I think it was like it's quite interesting how like what they all kind of link in. Like I used to do radio, and this used to happen all the time when doing live readings. And it was like everything was accurate, yet every psychic was coming up with something different but accurate. You know what I mean? Like it was, one person would pick up with something over there, and the other one would pick up with something that another one couldn't pick up. Like it's like where one left detail, the other one picked up with.
Yeah.
That is a good way to put it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an excellent way to put it. Kelly, I'm coming to you.
I felt similar to Bree, is that every time somebody came on, it was like, oh, well, that makes sense. So I could relate and I could sense it and feel it. And even though we all got pieces, yeah, it was definitely, there was some synchronicity happening.
Yeah, like I said, nobody said a UFO come down, they got abducted, and the boat got sucked out of the water. So, because at first, when he first told me what he was doing, I was like, this is going to be so interesting. It's either going to be a big deal or it's going to be a bust, And everybody's like, what's going on the show? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know? I was like, he knows, I don't know. And I try to explain to him. I'm like, no, come on. You got to tell me something. I'm like, I really don't, ladies and gentlemen. And I didn't. Am I right?
Yep.
Sportcat?
You're 100% right. I kept you clean on this.
That is correct.
Even Trey, I did. So
yeah, more Sportcat shenanigans. What can I say?
Well, and I also want to point out, aside for Trey is obviously I'm on his team. He's my boss on the team, and of course I'm partnered with Grizz. And Bree I've met before. Most of you all, or all of you all, I've actually never met or really spoken to at all. Actually, tonight was the first time I spoke to a bunch of you. So I'm totally shocked, and I'm glad that I got people from different parts of the world, different parts of my country. It's so amazing to find out that we all are interconnected. And that's the main thing. No matter what, I don't, I make fun and joke about a lot of things about, higher spirits and stuff, but we're all connected in this world.
And doesn't that give us some hope?
Yes, it does. Yes. Absolutely.
Yes.
And absolutely. One thing I would like to do for all the ladies that were actually involved in this, I don't want to call it an experiment, but what do you want to call it, Mr. Hudson?
Not really an experiment, more of a combined effort.
Okay, let's go. Let's roll with that combined effort. I would like to, with Sportcat, if he doesn't mind, send each one of you all an invitation to a special group that is only to our psychics that we know that have special abilities. And we actually go to them for certain things, for show related or whatnot. And that is the pool that we usually go to. They usually help each other and they chit chat back and forth. But I think that everybody here would be awesome to be inside that group. That way, if Sportcat pulls this stunt again, which I know he will, ladies and gentlemen, he can go right to that group and I won't know about it. And he can run things by you all or whatnot. Go from there. Would you all be okay with that?
Sure.
Okay, great. So, Sportcat, you got all their addresses. So tonight,
I do spread out over plenty of different forums, but yes, I do. And If it's not tonight, it'll be the next 2 days. I promise.
Okay, I tell you what, make it simple on him because I know how busy our inboxes are. If you could just send him a private message saying, "Hey, send me the link." Yeah, and he'll make sure and send it out to you because I think it'll be an honor to have you all in there, especially if we're going to do this again. So, yeah, absolutely. So, thank you all once again. It's been an honor for everybody, even Mr. Hudson. Thank you. Wonderful.
Thank you.
I do appreciate it. Thank you, guys or gals, young ladies. I appreciate it. On it. Hey, and today Google reminded me it's International Women's Day.
Oh, that's
Women's
right.
Day.
Whoa.
Women's Day. So there you go.
I feel
Thank
bad.
you. Thank you.
I feel
Thank you
bad.
very much. So,
all right, y'all have a good night. We'll talk to you soon. Oh, absolutely. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. All right, Mr. Hudson. So that was very interesting. Very interesting. So I definitely want to do this again. But ladies and gentlemen out there, if you're watching the broadcast or rewatching the broadcast, it is confidential. If you want to use the email address, I will throw it up there again just to make sure. Feel free to email us with any questions, or if you do have maybe another view or angle on that, we will pass that to Mr. Hudson right away. Who knows? I've actually seen crimes solved this way. Yes, law enforcement and FBI do use psychics and mediums and people with special abilities, but they never do get the credit, though. That's a bad thing. I mean, they can't go in front of a court of law. I'm like, hey, a psychic told me this, judge, and I ran with it. It doesn't work that way. But yeah, Mr. Hudson, what do you think?
Sure. I mean, I think it's the proof of concept definitely yielded positive results. So I think it's a valid concept. Absolutely.
All right. Well, Mr. Hudson, thank you again. We'll be talking to you soon, and we'll go from there. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you being on the show. Thank you, kind sir. I tell you what, sir. Now, how did you get on my side? I got
I'm the king.
Yes, you are the king. The king. I wish I could play that song, but YouTube would throw a fit.
Well, we don't want YouTube throwing any fits.
No, it has been. I mean, I don't know what's going on over here at my side of the studio. But like everything and their brother has been going off, like cell phones beeping, ringing, vibrating.
Well, I told you before show I went on Do Not Disturb, and I've been still getting inundated. All right, so in 24 hours, this will be on podcast, available on SiriusXM, iHeartRadio, Google, Apple. I just picked one. Next week, we have Jeremy Bryant. He hosts a podcast, and we're going to talk to him about paranormal and pop culture. Maybe beer. I could use a beer right about now. As always, it was a great show, and I'm blown away. Great audience.
Tell me, man.
Absolutely. And they were a little silent tonight because this topic was a little deeper, and I kind of anticipated that, and I'm okay with that. I know they were there.
Well, Rita. But the thing though is that some people probably didn't want to touch the subject too. So, which I understand, right?
Some did. That's correct.
So, yeah.
Great show. I would say you did a great job, but we really know it's all about me. So.
Here we go.
Bye, guys. See you next week.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I love this part.
I do too. I wish you would sing with me.
That will never happen. Even when you're here, that will never happen. I love Rolling Rock. I don't even make Rolling Rock.
Yeah.
No, Andy, I don't need any encouragement. A bag of beer to get me to hit that note.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, from coast to coast and around the world.
And it's like this used to say back in old Mexico City, AMF.
AMF.
Adios, my friend.
Adios. Yeah. Thank you for
Adios,
tuning
my
in.
friend.
Good night, everybody.
Where'd you go with that? Come on. Oh, my God.
Senorita Burrito, whatever. Annie's like, okay, see you then, since you're not going to sing. Good night, guys. Good night, ladies.
That's all. We're done, right?
Right.